If you feel that you are going to need to enter an environment that you know is not conducive to your resonance and frequency, you have to determine how you're going to show up in that space. You have to determine how you're going to affect the energy of that space. What are you going to bring to it? You're saying, I realize that this particular thing in my life is a program, that I've been conditioned to think and feel this way, but I also am empowered to change it. And so you should go back and listen to my video I just did on illusionary identities, how important it is that we become authentic to ourselves, and that we all reach our core center, so that from that space, we can interact with others and interact in our environment. And so it influences us. How do you perceive events? How you interact with others, and even the kinds of opportunities and challenges that come your way. All of this is all about your consciousness, your awareness. What are you doing to influence these things, or are you just a product of them? This is all about moving you beyond the matrix, moving you beyond the systems and constructs that are influencing and empowering who you are. You can change your identity by changing your frequency, changing your thoughts, changing how you interact with environments, setting boundaries with people, and how you interact with people in general. Do you go in with the mindset to change a low frequency environment? Or do you go in and say, I'm just going to conform, I'm just going to add more to this, make this more of a norm, make this of value to me, when you know that it's not valuable to you, you know that it does not help you. You know that it does not ring well with you. You know that it's not vibrating within you well. And so emotionally, you're all over the place when you're in the room with certain people, and you don't even understand why. Have you ever been in a space where you walked in one way, and when you walked out, you were so low, you felt like there was a cloud following you, or you felt very emotional? It was based on the frequency of that environment, or whoever you came in contact with. Who did you talk to? Who did you give your time to? Who did you give your energy to in those spaces? These are things that we have to make sure that we are aware of. We can no longer walk around in this world just being conditioned robots. We can no longer just walk into spaces and just not pay attention to how they're affecting us. We've got to be more proactive. When we're operating at a higher frequency, we tend to attract experiences, people, and circumstances that align with our positivity, growth, and abundance. We attract people to ourselves. And when we attract people to ourselves, we attract what it is we want. And if we're attracting people that are low vibrational, when we're attracting people who don't meet our level of frequency, our experiences, our circumstances, our positivity, growth, and abundance, when we're out of line with people, we know that. And so your perception of the world shifts, allowing you to see possibilities and connections that might not be visible at lower frequencies. Do you understand that? If you are seeing the world through a low place, do you not know that these can cause different difficulties in your life, and that they affect your experiences? And so this doesn't mean you encounter difficulties all the time, but your response to them will be different. It doesn't mean you won't have bad times. It doesn't mean you won't have difficulties, because like I said, one of the laws of the universe is polarity. For every opposite, there's for every for everything there's an opposite, right? And so it is important that you understand that the frequency that you operate on determines the outcome of your life and your experiences and things that you receive in your life, people, your environment, what you achieve in your life. And so you're more likely to approach challenges with resilience, understanding, a sense of purpose when you know that that's what it will bring you. You will want to be in those spaces more often. You will find yourself drawn to the frequency that you function on. So if you're functioning on a frequency that is low vibrational, you'll always be drawn to that because you draw what you are. You draw what you are. And so on the one hand, if your frequency is low, perhaps weighed down by fear, negativity, unresolved issues, the world around you is going to reflect that to you. You get what you desire. You get what you create. You get back the frequency you put out. And so you might find yourself stuck in patterns of conflict, limitation, lack, because your frequency attracts and sustains these experiences. These are not things that, we often say, oh, I'm just in the will of God, or oh, I'm just going to go with the universe sent this to me. No, it did not. Well, let me change that. Let me speak on your level. Yes, the universe did send you that because the universe don't care what you want. It's going to send you what you want. You attract what you want, whether that attraction comes from God or whether that attraction comes from the universe or whether that attraction comes from the environment and the space that you're in. You attract it. You get what you think. As a man thinketh, so is he. You cannot allow yourself to have low and high frequencies coming out of the same space. You have to balance it. Get yourself on that line of polarity where you're balanced and know how to use frequency, know how to use energy, know how to use your emotions, know how to use the interactions of the spaces that you're in, how to change the environments by walking in the room, conditioning yourself prior to even leaving your house. People do meditation. They do mindfulness practices. They do affirmations. People pray. People speak what they want before they leave their homes. And then they go out into the world having an expectation, a high expectation that these things will manifest to them and that they will be brought to them. But you have to stay at that space. And when you're in a space that does not resonate with that, you're going to feel it because you're going to start to find yourself talking different, acting different, seeing the world a little lower. Your expectations will start to lower a little bit. And before you know it, you have given up all of the things that you have worked to create in your life. This is so important that your frequency and that you understand your conscious location. And so in essence, your frequency acts like a magnet, drawing in experiences that resonate with your current state of being, right? By consciously working on raising your frequency through practices like with mindfulness, like we said, self-reflection and positive intentions, you begin to shift your reality. You don't believe me? Try it. Try it. Wake up in the morning and say, today, I am going to be in a high vibration state. I am going to see things positively. Check your thoughts. And whatever thoughts does not resonate with that idea, change the thought. What doesn't resonate with you on the frequency level that you're on, change it. If you feel that you will need to enter an environment that you know is not conducive to your resonance and frequency, you have to determine how you're going to show up in that space. You have to determine how you're going to affect the energy of that space. What are you going to bring to it? How are you going to challenge things that try to destroy and deconstruct your frequency? How are you going to challenge those? What boundaries are you going to set? How are you going to set those boundaries and practically enforce them? Do you leave the space? Do you challenge the negativity? You have to have a plan. The world is not waiting for you. It's already conditioned for you to show up how you show up, not how others expect you to show up, how you want to show up in the world. And so by consciously working on raising your frequency through practices that we talked about, being proactive, you can start to shift your reality, creating a world that reflects the highest expression of who you are. Who doesn't want that? Unless you're unaware of what the highest expectation or expression of you that you are. If you're unaware of that, then you cannot work these tools to produce it because you don't know what it looks like. You don't know what to expect from it. The first place that you can start in this is your conversation, your thoughts. How are you thinking about things? What are you talking about? You ever been talking to somebody and they look at you and say, what in the world are you talking about? That's showing you a brief window into something that didn't resonate with that person when they was talking to you. They're like, whoa, wait. No. Not just your words. They felt something from you. You produced something inside of them. You affected them on a frequency level, on an energy level, on an emotional level. And they was backing up like, wait, no, I don't believe that. No, I don't receive that. No, that's not me. If that's you, if that's how you want to be, that's how you want to show up, have at it. But I'm not receiving it. I'm not going to act on it. I don't want nothing to do with it. That's usually the response, right? And that's because the person that is responding to you that way picked up something from you that was kind of like it was in opposition. It was antagonistic to who they were. It didn't resonate. It's like, no. And you almost feel like you can see expressions on people's face like, oh, that's just nasty. That's really what they would say based on how they are responding to the resonance or the frequency that you're putting out. And so it's important. These concepts and stuff that we're talking about, they're closely tied to the idea of co-creation, where your internal state helps shape your external environment. And if you don't believe me, walk around hating people all day long and see what happens. Walk around being mean to people, walk around mistreating people, walk around ignoring people, and see the very thing that you do create the reality that you have made for yourself. And then walk around being positive, walk around uplifting people, walk around loving people and telling people who they are, how great they are, sharing and lifting people's frequencies, sharing and lifting people's emotions. When you know someone is feeling low, find ways to say something that lifts them out of that space. And isn't there a clear line of demarcation between these two attitudes? This isn't hard, people. You don't need a master class to do this. You need awareness. You need to elevate your consciousness. You need to elevate your awareness, elevate your thoughts and your emotions, elevate your conversation, change your language, change your words. You have to learn to shift Become a shapeshifter. Shape and shift your frequency as you need it to function for you. Do you not know that frequency, energy, emotions, all of these affect your health? You can be very, very unhealthy. You can be in a bad state. But if you have a high passion and a high level of understanding of yourself, a high level of positivity, you will heal much quicker than someone with the same exact issue that you have who are in a low vibrational state. Frequency is real. It is not fake. We can call it spirits. We can call it energy. We can call it angels. We can call it love. We can call it God. We can call it whatever we want to call it. I'm not after your terminology here. I'm actually after your experience and how you experience what you are terming. Right? And that's where we are. So when you think about frequency from a more energetic perspective, interacting with others can be understood as exchanges of frequency rather than just exchanges of words, ideas, emotions, right? So this is simply what we're talking about. We're talking about how you talk to one another, how you talk to yourself. It's almost 100% that if I sit and hear you talk, I understand how you feel about yourself. I can understand how you feel about yourself. I can understand how you feel about and interact with other people just by having a conversation with you. You can do the same thing when you work on your awareness, work on your consciousness, work on your own energy fields, work on your making sure that you're emotionally intelligent and that you're sensing the atmosphere, changing the environments around you, not allowing yourself to be conditioned in spaces that don't line up with your frequency and don't resonate with you. When you find yourself always saying to somebody, yo, whoa, wait a minute, no, you know something is wrong with that relationship. You guys are not on the same frequency. You're not having the same reality or the same experience in this world. And do you not know that we live on different dimensions of reality based on our idea of how we look at this life? You ever felt like you were in a totally different space than someone else? You could feel that they were not where you are. Because our dimensions are based on our frequencies. They're not based on all the other things. We don't need a spaceship to go into a different dimension. Shift your energy, shift your reality, shift your conversation. This is how important it is if you want to grow, to be a better person, to be a more heightened aware person, to have more positive experiences in your life. This is transformation, right? And so all of this, it affects your beliefs. What you believe is so important in this space that we're talking about right now. What you believe affects everything that you do. What you believe about yourself, what you believe about others, what you believe about divinity, what you believe about God, what you believe about the universe, what you believe about your health, your weight, how you look, how you dress. We all struggle with that. We all struggle with how we look. There's something about us that we just uncomfortable with. We all got flaws that we work on. But it's how we show up with the flaws that determines whether or not we're going to have a creative moment in changing those realities. When you were, when you interact with others, what you're really doing is engaging with their frequency. And this interaction either resonates with or clashes against your own. You And I know you all remember during the pandemic how everything changed. You could when you go outside, because everybody was on shutdown, the level of fear was so strong in the air that when you did get in your car and drive anywhere, the space around you felt different. The world felt different. It didn't feel like you was in the same world that you were in before the pandemic. Talking to people, people even looked different. Your vision, how you saw things, looked different. And you responded different. Some of us, we were so sweet during the pandemic. And some of us were the most evilest people that we have ever been. Some of us walked in levels of fear that we have never experienced before. We felt the resonance of that fear. We felt the vibration and the frequency of that fear. We walk out our homes and look at people who are shopping with masks on, who are shopping in fear. My God, did you not see that? Did you not experience that during the pandemic? And even now, the energy level of our environment, of our interactions, of the collective around politics is very high. And if you don't check your frequency, and if you don't look at where you're resonating from, what you're consciously feeling and thinking, your awareness, your thoughts, and how you're expressing yourself in the environment you go in, you're not going to be able to manage your frequency. You're not going to be able to tune things in your life right. And so, yes, we're tuners. We have to learn to tune our own frequency. And so, this is so important to us because if you're not careful, discomfort or even a sense of being drained can be very, 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 very significant. The tension, discomfort. And so these reactions are often not just about the person themselves, but about the energetic exchange between us and our frequencies. And so understanding this can change how you approach relationships or social interactions. Instead of focusing solely on the surface level of stuff or its interaction, we should begin to notice the underlying energy in it. Don't look at people and judge people, judge the energy that they're putting out. And when you do that, the judgment is, how can I help change this energy that they're putting out? How can I help raise this being up so that it fulfills and experiences its highest self and potential and possibilities? How can I raise the identity of this individual, this being that I'm in their presence? Because we're all from the same level of consciousness. We're all from the same level of creation. We're all from the same level of creation, from the perspective of where we derived ourselves from, our identities, our experiences, our personifications, our formations, our embodiments. All of this is important when we're interacting with one another. So how you approach relationships and social interactions, instead of focusing solely on the surface level of content, focus on the energy, right? How it feels to be around someone, what kind of energy they bringing into a space, and how their frequency is affecting even your own, right? So this awareness can help you navigate relationships more consciously, with more awareness, with more intention. Become a stronger observer. Learn to observe not just what is outside of you, but what is inside of you. What are you putting out into the atmosphere? What kind of energy are you dispersing? What kind of resonance are you vibrating at? And so you got to choose to surround yourself with frequencies that uplift and align with your own. Because that's what happens anyway. So whether you choose it or not, how you choose to show up draws that reality. And so this also emphasizes the importance of maintaining your own frequency, taking responsibility for how you feel, taking responsibility for your level of emotional intelligence, taking responsibility for how you want your outcome to be when you're in the presence of another or when you're in another environment. What do you want to happen? How do you want to have this experience? How high do you want to be? How happy, how positive do you want to be in this space? Because that's what's going to determine your experience, is your choices in these spaces. And plus, when you do that, when you're consciously aware, then you are equipped to interact with the world in a way that attracts similar frequencies, create positivity, fulfilling experiences. And in this sense, every do you know that every energy field, every interaction becomes an opportunity for a meaningful exchange of energy? That means you can do it with intention. You can interact with people intentionally, with intention. And you can say, you know what? There's a reason why I want to contact you or why I want to interact with you in this space and in this moment, rather than just surface level connections. We got to get out of just being with people just because we don't want to be alone or just because we feel lonely. I get it. We're social beings because that's the way we've been conditioned. That's it. That's the way we've been constructed. Those are the types of identities that we have been socialized to personify. We need social interaction. We need to feel that collective effervescence that we get. It's the same thing like when you go to church and you feel that energy and you call it the spirit. You go to a football game and you feel the same thing and you call that the energy. It's collective effervescence. It's the same thing. And so you can change your reality. And so you have to create the vision that you want to materialize. Because visions that you have can only be seen by you. So matching with the right frequency becomes your responsibility and not that of others. The vision you hold is uniquely yours. And therefore, it's up to you to align your frequency with your vision of yourself, of your environment, of those around you, of what you want to see, of what you want to experience, of what you want to draw into your space. This requires simple requirement, alignment for you to take responsibility for your energy, thoughts, and actions, ensuring they're all resonating with the frequency of what you wish to create, right? And so others may not see it your way. You're not going to always get people to agree with you. People are just not going to always agree with you because they live in different dimensions and different worlds and different environments, different realities. You're vibrating on different levels. So your interactions with one another is not always going to be conducive to the environment. It's not always going to be something that is perfect. But you have to know whether or not the perfection that you're looking for can happen. Have you created the space for it to show up for you? The key is for you to maintain your focus and stay in tune with the frequency that matches your desired outcome, not somebody else's. And so by doing so, you naturally attract circumstances and people and opportunities that align with your vision, even if they can't see it themselves. Not everybody can see what you see. You can't see what everybody else sees. This responsibility means you being mindful of how others' frequency affect you. While you can't control other people's frequencies, their energy, their emotions, their interactions, their level of positivity, their level of negativity, you cannot control that. But you can control how you interact with them and how much influence they have over your own energy levels. By consciously choosing to engage with frequencies that support and uplift your vision of yourself, of the world you want to live in, of how you want to experience this life. What experience and memories do you want to create? What legacies do you want to leave? How do you want to resonate and influence those around you? Right? You have to do that by maintaining your own frequency. That is the lesson here. Even in challenging environments, because do you not know that the more you learn to maintain your frequency, even in challenging environments, the stronger you get, the more fulfilled you are, the more familiar you become to making these adjustments naturally. It's like tuning a guitar. For a professional guitarist, tuning a guitar is nothing. It's natural. It's like, okay, before I pick this up, I need to tune it. So before you pick up anything, you need to tune your frequency to what you want the outcome to be. And so you empower yourself to bring your vision into the reality that you want to see. So don't be discouraged about someone who's in a low vibrational state. Even if you fall into that state, like I said, we live in a polarity universe. So we're going to have our highs and we're going to have our lows. The key is, how do you make sure that you're capable of making sure you get yourself back on the right frequency, that you attune yourself to the proper space to keep your environment producing what you want to see. And so again, we've reached the end of this video. I know we've probably given you a lot, but I just want to encourage you, and I just want to share that if you would please like, comment, share, and subscribe, I would appreciate it so that we can bring more of these videos for others who need them. And also this video will be up for your viewing pleasure, for you to partake of at any point in time that you see necessary, and for you to also share with others in your life who you know need to hear this. So that's what we're here for, to move you beyond the matrix and to move you beyond the programming. So we will see you next time. I'm your host, Dr. Dorothy Parker, your transformation specialist. Thank you so much.